Welcome to the Airgun Show. This week we've got field target legend Nick Jenkinson back with some tips on keeping your shots on target when the wind's blowing. But first, I'm out stalking rabbits. I'm out stalking rabbits this evening. Now, it's a bit more difficult than ambushing them because of the obvious challenge of creeping within range. Now, it is supposed to turn wet a bit later on, but for the time being, conditions are pretty good. So we'll see what we can do. But before I get cracking, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the kit I'm using this evening. One of my favourite things about stalking is the mobility, so I don't like to be overburdened. But I am carrying shooting sticks tonight. Now, the main reason for that is because I've opted to use the scope cam, because I do think we're going to struggle for both of us to stalk within range to get the kill shots. Now, using a scope cam does tend to compromise accuracy because you're shooting with a head-up position. So, all being well, the extra support provided by the sticks will help to keep me on aim. I'm not wearing my usual peaked cap or head net this evening. Now, that is going to compromise my concealment slightly, but it's a compromise I'm prepared to make when I'm stalking, because the advantage it does give me is that I've got unobstructed view. And that means that as I'm approaching rabbits, I can keep a very close eye on them, read their body language. If they sit up and look alert, I'll stop stalking, I'll keep still. If they settle down to feed again, I'll start moving in again. Now, also it means I can keep a closer eye on where I'm putting my feet and what's in front of me, so I won't be cracking any twigs. I can take the quietest, softest route, hopefully get within range. Now, on the subject of my feet, I've also done away with my usual pair of rubber boots. Now, most of the time I will wear wellies, but it's a very, very dry conditions at the moment today, so I'm going to be able to get away with wearing lace-ups. And that should just keep me a little bit more light-footed. Now, rabbits have an uncanny ability of being able to detect vibrations through the ground, so anything I can do to make me more light-footed will give me a better chance of stalking within range. Right, so that's a bit about my kit and my clothing. Let's put it to the test and see if we can bag a few rabbits. Right from the outset, I'm trying to stay close to cover to conceal my outline, and moving slowly and quietly. Footfalls need to be as soft as possible. The stamp of a misplaced foot can spook rabbits from a long way off. The brow of a hill is often sufficient cover to conceal you from rabbits on the other side, and it looks like there might be something just over this one. I've told Nicky to hold back to keep disturbance to a minimum, so we're going to be relying on the scope cam to capture the action. I've managed to creep within range of a rabbit out feeding on a bank just out from the hedgerow. The shot's a good one, and although there were other rabbits out, they've bolted at the sound of the gun. So I walk on in to make the retrieve. Well, if only all stalks went as easily as that one. That rabbit was still feeding when I took the shot. It was completely oblivious to me. Unfortunately, it was up on a bank, so it meant with the height of the sticks, I could get the shot over the tops of the grass and the flowers that if I was shooting prone may well have been in the way. So that's the first one in the bag. Taken nice and cleanly with a headshot. And one thing I'll just point out while I've got the bag here is it's a relatively new game bag, but I've already taken the knife to it. I've taken off the buckles and the buckle straps just to keep them quiet because they were rattling while I was stalking around, and quite frankly it still functions as a game bag without them, but it's nice and quiet now. Right, so that's the first one. We'll move on, see if we can't get another. There are more rabbits out, but they're very close to the undergrowth. We creep on as quietly as we can in an effort to get a shot from a comfortable range. One of the bunnies lingers, and I soon have it in my sights. Another good clean headshot, and another shot that I certainly wouldn't have been able to take off of a low bipod, because it's deceptive just how high the buttercups are growing in between me and where I took that rabbit from. That shot was probably, I don't know, just over 30 metres. It was straight across, opposite side of quite a narrow paddock, and as I said, another really good clean kill. Lights out, let's go and pick it up. Once again, the sound of the shot seems to have sent any remaining rabbits to ground, so there's no need for too much stealth as I walk in to confirm that it's a clean kill and make the retrieve. And a quick squeeze down the rabbit's belly confirms that its bladder is empty before it goes into the bag. Right, well that's another one in the bag. Now that was quite a small one, probably not much more than half grown, but in all honesty, I really don't discriminate on size when I'm out on a pest control job, because however big or small they are, a rabbit is a rabbit and it's still going to be munching at the grass and burrowing in the banks, so they all count. Right, let's get loaded up, ready for the next one. So, it's back on with the game bag, up with the sticks, and back off along the hedgerows. Right, there's one out by the nettles there in the shade of the trees. Get the scope cam on. Hopefully. Wait while I stalk around the nettles. Didn't manage to get that one. I think it heard me. In fact, I think it might have heard the click of the sticks. Now, stalking rabbits with an air rifle is hard enough when you're out on your own, but with a cameraman in tow and the paraphernalia that goes with it, it does make it that much trickier. We did see a few rabbits along this bank, apart from the one that's run in. So I think what we'll do now, although we're out on a stalking session, we'll set up on the hillside and see if we can ambush one or two as they come back out. Now it's just a matter of finding a vantage point that offers me a good view of the hedgeline. Right, this looks like as good a spot as any. It probably puts us, I don't know, about 30 metres from the bank that the rabbits are emerging from. Now I'm going to settle down here. Although the rabbits are going to be coming out in deep shade, We're actually very exposed here. There's not much cover, so I'm actually going to put my head net on when we settle down. I may not like the way a head net restricts my field of view when I'm hunting on the move, but the extra concealment is always helpful when you're ambushing quarry from an exposed spot. I want to ensure that everything is set up properly now, so I shouldn't have to move about too much and risk causing a disturbance if I get a shot. Right, it's fair to say that we're not very well concealed at all sitting on the hillside like this, and normally if I was staking out rabbits in this way I tend to get down on my belly and shoot either off of a low bipod or off of my elbows and just take advantage of the fact that I'm down very low and right off of the skyline. However, in these paddocks this evening, the buttercups are just ridiculously high. I mean, in places they're well over a foot tall, and if I was shooting prone I wouldn't stand a chance of getting shots through or over them. So the way it is this evening, I'm just going to sit out like this and hope for the best. Now, the only thing that is in our advantage is there's a lot of disturbance in these fields from cattle and from horses. So the rabbits are used to a bit of disruption, bit of noise. So if we're lucky, one or two might come out before we run out of time. Persistence pays off, and I eventually get another rabbit in my sights. Well, I couldn't deliberate very long over that shot, because if the rabbit moved very far, I was going to lose it in the undergrowth. And it did look like it moved its head just as I touched off the trigger, but from what I could see through the scope cam, it caught it right in the eye, straight through the head, and another very clean kill. As the rabbit was cleanly dispatched, I decided to reload and wait it out a while longer in the hope of getting a chance to add another one to the tally. But unfortunately, the cattle decide to stretch their legs right in my line of fire. Right, we've managed to nick one from here, but inquisitive cows are starting to pester us a bit now, and also it's starting to spot with rain, so it seems like quite a sensible time to wrap it up. To be honest, I'm happy with 3 rabbits for a relatively short session, so it's been productive, and I'm going home with 3 rabbits for the table. Well, at least I managed to get a few bunnies in the bag before the cattle stopped play. And now, it's the Airgun Show news.
This is the Airgun Show news. Brought to you by the Airgun Centre. Gamo Outdoor, an affiliate of investment firm BRS, together with its UK subsidiary BSA Guns, has acquired the iconic Daisy Airgun brand. Established in 1886 and renowned for its entry-level plinking airguns, Daisy has given countless young shooters their first experience of target sports. BSA Managing Director Simon Moore described the acquisition as a truly exciting opportunity to cover an even bigger share of the UK and global airgun market. Tesco has performed a swift U-turn on age limits for buying shooting magazines. There was an age restriction in one of its stores asking readers if they were over 18, and the shop's customer service team said it would be unethical to sell shooting mags to youngsters. But when pressed by Basque, Tesco said the age restriction had been placed in error, and the supermarket has said it has no age restriction policy. Andy Simpson returned a score of 57 to win round 3 of the UKA HFT at Buxted in Surrey. Second place went to Pete Dutton, also on 57 points, and Justin Grice was third with 56. Air Arms took the manufacturer's team title once again. And finally, are you ready for Ragley? The Game Fair returns to Ragley Hall and is now less than 3 weeks away. The annual event is a gathering for visitors passionate about field sports, country pursuits and the great British countryside in all its glory. The shooting line at the show, run by E.J. Churchill, will be Europe's longest at 585 metres in length, and on Gunmakers Row there'll be a host of massive names from the shooting world. That was the Airgun Show News.
I'd like to talk briefly about reading the wind and how important that is from an air rifle shooter's perspective, because it influences the point of impact of our pellet. It destroys the accuracy that we hope for. It also carries our scent on the wind and alarms the prey that we're going for of our presence. So it's vital that we know the direction the wind's blowing in and also the strength. And I'm hopefully going to show you a few tips to overcome some of that. Wind speed indicators are readily available. This measures in miles per hour or kilometers per hour the strength of the wind, but many people don't like taking gadgets out when they go hunting or even in a field target situation, and personally I think it's more important to just get a good feel for the wind. So I've got 3 other things here which hopefully indicate and give you a visual impression of the wind as opposed to just a figure. This is a simple telltale. Many people use these. They attach to the front of the rifle, and as the wind blows it gives you an indication of what's happening right by the muzzle of the gun. These are inexpensive. You can even just do it with a piece of cotton or a piece of wool. Some rifles have actually got a bracket or a lever mounted on the rifle to attach this wool to act as a telltale indicator for the wind. The second indicator is a pot with talcum powder inside, and when you squeeze that it blows the particles all over the place, and you can get some idea of the direction of the wind and also the strength. But obviously that's only close to your body, close to you. It doesn't tell you what's happening further away. The third thing is my personal favourite. This is Old Man's Beard, which you can find this in the woods or around the fields, and it's so light and dry and fibrous that the particles drift on the wind, and they show you the strength of the wind but also give a really good indication of the direction of the wind as well. And what I love about this is it drifts so far on the wind, and I've used this in field target competitions where it's moved away from me and I've been able to see gusts of wind coming from the left or from the right that I would have otherwise missed, because this has drifted 20 or 30 yards away and then suddenly zoomed off to one side. Free of charge, fantastic indicator. Don't forget that there are other things around you that can indicate what's happening with the wind. Birds, insects, their movement, leaves falling from a tree, many things in nature that you look at and take for granted, but they can all indicate how strong the wind is. The sound of the wind going through the trees can also indicate how strong the wind is. So it's a question of being in tune with nature and in tune with this situation, and hopefully that gives you more chance, takes some of the guesswork out about where your pellet is going to land downrange. So this isn't about taking advantage of one particular foolproof method, it's about being in tune with everything out there. Assessing it, judging the wind close to you, also looking at the indicators further away, trying to get an overall picture of the wind and what it's going to do to your air rifle pellets. Hopefully that gives you more success in the field and also more success on the field target range.
That's all for this week, but we'll be back again in a fortnight. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And if you aren't already a member of the BASC, have a look at their website and check out the benefits you could be taking advantage of through Airgun membership.